All right, welcome to round number 3. We have a pretty easy mulligan here on the draw, and a okay keep. Not a great hand, but an okay keep. Not having any sort of one-mana spell is a little bit troublesome, but certainly not going to 5 on these cards at least. Definitely willing to go to 5, but not with a reasonable hand such as this. Opponent here is thinking. Looks like they did indeed keep their 6, so I guess they're probably thinking on their scry. Yeah, they put the card on the top. Our scry is perfect. Slam that right on top. Especially because we'll have information about the matchup, hopefully, by the time. Verdant Catacombs. All right, not a ton of information about the matchup. I could wait on this looting as such. Honestly, I don't hate waiting, but I have sort of the ability to curve out here somewhat, so. I think I'm going to pitch this. Yeah, I definitely want my swamp here, and I guess I'd rather have the Sacred Foundry. Ah, I see. Well, pretty sad about that Brutality discard. This was not what I expected off of Verdant Catacombs. And I guess this is what they topped. I imagine we're very dead. Probably should have shocked off of this instead of fetching this to make Blood Moon seem less like a possibility. I mean, I think with my opponent clearly keeping a no, well, not clearly, but likely a no Infector hand, it's possible they had Blighted Agent. I think it is likely wise for me to block there after the Might gets cast. My Leto is not very relevant here, so I'm happy to shock, sort of pretend that we have something relevant. Dryad Arbor. It's a weird game, but I kind of feel like I'm supposed to be blocking here. Keep getting those, like, get a pump spell out of the deal. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to respond to that, but yeah, we got a groundswell. It's a super, super weird game. Still don't have a way to benefit off of Pyromancer. I wonder if this time I don't block so that I can, like, looting and try to get some value off of this thing. I think this turn I don't block. The problem is there's just not a lot that can be in my opponent's hand that's not just a way to murder me, but yeah, I mean, this is my last Pyromancer. My opponent certainly has some kind of protection spell. Well, they're not moving too quickly here, so that's a good sign. All right, sweet. Alive. I like that. Let me just say go. This Blood Moon's not irrelevant, even though our opponent's clearly still going to have plenty of mana that produces green. They won't have the ability to produce blue, which is relevant. Or black if they're on that splash, I guess. That said, I'm still not terribly unlikely to pitch it to a Faithless Suiting here. It kind of all depends. That's a fine draw. Just make red-black still. All right. It's pretty close between Blood Moon and Blackcleave Cliffs here. 1, 2, 3. But I'm not going to be able to cast both of these next turn. I'm definitely just going to want a Reveler next turn. So I guess it's not that close. I guess I'm either main phasing this or end stepping it, right? No, not when I have blockers. All right, there's the blue at least. Opponent's leaving Verdant in play, which makes me assume that they do not have another land, or at least before their draw step did not have another land. And they were looking out for potential groundswells, whether they had one or not. Just needed that landfall. All right, probably drew that. Well, because of the Bedlam Reveler, I do just want to fire this off. Yeah, unsurprisingly, it's protected, but that's just fine. The fact that it's Glistener Elf, obviously, instead of Blighted Agent is a big deal. Well, that's a little bit awkward. But that's all right. We'll hopefully draw another removal spell off of this Reveler. Oh, okay. They just have a million ways to protect it. Guess it didn't matter. With how much mana they have, I think I'm just happy to take the Vines. Oh, this still costs 1 million. Okay. I forgot how few instants and sorceries we've cast this game. Do not have a looting, so I may want to play one of these. I think I'm going to play one. Yeah. It's time to start turning our guys sideways. All right. Feels a little bad, but that's okay. Still happy to find it. Might still use all my mana this turn, so. Yeah. Probably still will. Trying to decide how important it is for me to Thoughtseize. The answer is probably not very. I think it's way better to do this, particularly because if they have Apostle's Blessing. I mean, I guess I'm casting one half of it anyway, so that's not really relevant, but. Yeah, I'm just going to flash this back. It may be better to Thoughtseize. It's close. And I think we're definitely in attack with everything mode. Pretty unlikely they have something like explosive, so I don't think having like a non-token blocker matters. And I certainly don't care about producing more tokens at this point, so. Yeah, I probably should have Thoughtseized. It's not like my opponent would be any less dead here. Don't know what they would do to give this thing trample, but as long as I still have lethal, I'm fine. I guess I want to still have lethal if they have another blocker. I don't really care if they're abyssing themselves, though. Yeah, I'll just block like all the tokens there, I think. Okay, definitely like all these explosives. Liliana is okay, but a little clunky in the post-board games. Definitely want this extra push. Brutality is pretty great, but I really do have to be careful about how clunky my answers are. But I have plenty of other clunkers to side out. This is one of those matchups that the lower I can make my average CMC, the better. So these are like slam dunks. This is still a slam dunk. And I think these are just going to be better than some of these other like huge clunkers I have. I think Blood Moon's still great. Well, not great, but good enough, I guess. K-Command is probably better than I'm giving it credit for, but I'm likely going to want to shave on them. They don't really have a way to tackle stuff like this, so I'm fine with that. Definitely want all of my interaction. Dreadbore and Terminate, I'm going to move over here because they are like a little clunky. I guess these aren't that bad because of the Inkmoth Nexi, though. Yeah, you know, I guess I'm kind of off the Blood Moon plan then. These are largely a consideration because of the Inkmoth Nexi as well, but again, huge clunkers. Dreadbore particularly clunky. I think we can get that out. And I'm probably going to cut the Terminate as well. I think these are just going to get shaved or cut entirely. I think they're worse than the Lilianas on average. Like, they obviously have huge blowout potential, but they're a lot of mana and still get beaten up a little bit by protection spells. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't know if having a Liliana instead of a Terminate is responsible, though. Again, it sort of goes against my CMC rule. I think Liliana over Dreadbore is fine because of how clunky Dreadbore is, but I guess it's possible they have like Cyborg Nissa stuff as well. Maybe 4 of these is too many, but I think they so profitably interact with Glistener Elf and Lingering Souls that it's fine. Or Glistener Elf and Inkmoth Nexus that it's fine. Yeah, I'm going to cut the Terminate, which sort of breaks my rule a little bit. But obviously the rule isn't that strict. We're not just going to start cutting random 3-drops for random 2-drops, but I think this one is actually kind of close. 2-mana interaction over 3-mana interaction that sort of interact in the same way, but obviously Liliana protection spells don't work as well, but things like Noble Hierarchs can screw that up a bit. Sort of Inkmoth Nexus can screw that up a bit if we're trying to hit like a Blighted Agent or something, but Dryad Arbor could definitely screw that up quite a bit. We'll have to be on the lookout for that. Land heavy hand, but I think it's a keep. We have early interaction. Obviously, if they're on the Glistener Elf plan, this hand might just get demolished, but see if they have multiple Blighted Agents. Just the one. Well, game 1 we were happy that they were on the Glistener Elf plan. This game we're pretty happy that they're on the Blighted Agent plan, or were on the Blighted Agent plan. Now they're on the whatever they can draw plan. All right, well, there's Glistener Elf. That didn't last very long. But Liliana is an excellent draw here. Opponent does not have a profitable way to interact with that. Now I have to decide between Inquisition and Young Pyromancer. Wild Defiance obviously makes my bolts really bad. It makes it really easy for them to kill stuff. I guess this Inquisition just doesn't really matter. So I probably just Pyromancer. Plus, if they draw Fetch Land, I kind of want them to play Wild Defiance. All right, they didn't play a land, so I don't really have to block here, right? Groundswells, this is +4 potentially. This is +2, so max they can do is 5 Infect here. If they've drawn... See, Might would also just be +2 here. If they've drawn, like... Mutagenic Growth, they still aren't. Yeah, okay, so I'm just not blocking. Yeah, and that's the most likely play anyway. So let's get Swamp off of this and Liliana minus as well as attack. Happy they didn't draw fetch land. I guess they wouldn't have slammed the Wild Defiance because they would have wanted to leave up protection spells, and then they would actually have the ability to grab Dried Arbor, and I'd have to wait until I'd also have a removal spell up. Alright, sweet. Alright, the fact that they didn't hit another Infector there, I think, puts us very firmly in the driver's seat for this game. Think. Yeah, just tick up, discard this. Just keep all my spells. They could have explosives post board, but still not that likely. And not really something I'm willing to play around. I need a quicker clock. Yeah, I guess I have a 2-turn clock without the second bolt anyway. I'm just going to tear up their hand. No, tearing up their hand doesn't matter that much, though. Yeah, it really just doesn't matter that much. Maybe I'm just not supposed to activate Liliana at all. It really doesn't matter. Six, 7. Yeah, we're pretty set now. Yep. All right. See you in round number 4 in just a moment.